Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing? Today is like the first time I'm doing a whipping chat. I try to, I don't know, I try to, I try to veer away from that because I know that the diamond art community is very toxic. So I try to stay away from all the drama. But this is my first one. This is my first one, y'all. You know, And today we just gonna, we just gonna talk about anything and everything. You know, I'm gonna tell y'all a little story. Uh, like I have cover minders, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine's, and he was like, he's like, Lisa, what are you working on? So I told him what I was working. He said, what is all that noise in the background? I said, that's the plastic that goes over the picture. He said, well, don't you have a cover minder? I said, yeah, but don't work for me. Mine is broke, right? And he said, Lisa, there's two, there's actually two magnets on that. And I said, no, there's one. He said, no, there's two. And as I picked up the magnet, and I said, oh, it is two. I know, right? And there's another one a friend sent me. It was like a little garbage can, trash can, cover minder. And I had thought it had broke because the bottom of it kind of like stuck to this. So I said, well, ain't no more than me using it, you know. Um, but what I realized that there was actually two of them. Um, that there was actually two of them. Oh, that was funny. That was funny. I did not see that coming. You know. And today we're just going to talk about. We're going to keep it light. Um, try not to talk about anything too heavy. You know. But I am going to say this: people are suffer with mental health issues. This is this is this is what I love to do. This right here, it keeps me calm. It keeps me sane. It keeps me not keep choking the living shit out of somebody. Uh, but it keeps me calm. It really does. And right now, I am working on uh, which I didn't even realize. I'm working on the Toon Squad. Now, if you know anything about Toon Squad, that's like Space Jam, you know, but not the LeBron one. This is the my Michael Jordan's one. They're celebrating 25 years. I said, well, now look at you. Has it really been 25 years? Shit. What time be going? Ooh, child. Time be flying by so dang fast, you know? So that's what I'm working on. And so far it's coming out really pretty. It's coming out really pretty. I just wish that because the stars in the skies are like the 141 ABs. I just they could have been glow in the darks because that would have been awesome. Just the stars, in the sky. I wish those would have been glow in the dark. That would have really made it pop. But then again, with my crazy ass, I'd probably have it hung up in my room, having to get up in the middle of the night go to the bathroom, forget it's there, and have a total freak out. I'd be the only black woman running down the block with no drawers on, screaming, "Oh, it's coming to get me!" You know, and they be, gosh, be like, "Who was coming to get you?" There are things up in there, things. Come back to the house. You mean this thing? I said, "Oh crap! I forgot it was a glow in the dark. I am sorry." I said, "I suffer from PTSD. Leave me alone." It scared me because I forgot. Ain't nothing like having to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, forget that you have something up there, and go, hmm, shit. Now, I was telling a friend of mine, I said, thank God it wasn't the eyes, because if the eyes were glowing in the dark, I'd have been done. I'd have seriously been done. I'd have been out so fast and made it would make Linda Blair's head turn in The Exorcist. So this is turning out to be real, real nice. So today is a Sunday. Oh, I was looking for something I'm already using. It's a Sunday, and you know, just being lazy today and doing my stuff. Um, I got these neat little. I got these neat little. What am I looking for? I got these neat little storage containers that I want to get more of, you know, and I will eventually. And they decide to send me my check, you know. Um, have y'all ever had a mom who was crazy as a bedbug? But you love her anyway. My mom was those people. I mean, even though she's passed on, and I love her to death, and I miss her so much. The world was crazy too. A lot of people ask me, Lisa, where you get your sense of humor? Well, I get it from my mama. Because my mama, I'm telling you, she's just so weird. I was in my to give you a little hint, I was in my bedroom. Now my bedroom in the apartment that we lived in was towards the front of the house. My mom's bedroom was in the back of the house. And I had a question to go ask her. So I go into the back to ask her something, and all I see was half her body on the floor, the other half, which is her ass part, is up in the air, and I'm like, I had to sit there and debate with myself for a minute if I should do it or not, because if you do it, you're gonna do it yourself. Ain't nobody blame but you, And I guess I must have been a glutton for punishment. So I said, Mom, what are you looking for? She said, I'm looking for the little man under my bed. I said, you're looking for what? She said, I'm looking for a little man under my bed. And I was like, okay. See, I knew I was doing it to myself before I opened my mouth. And I'm like, oh. And then she has another tell me, well, what did you want? Never mind. I'll talk to you after you find a little man under your bed. I would, nope. And I had to stop myself because I started asking, what you gonna do when you find her? And I said, nope, 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 nope. Some questions should never be asked. And that be one of them. I was like, no, hell no. You already got me down this damn rabbit hole. You know, and my mom, she was just, she was one of them people to know what is to love her, you know, because there's been times where, like, especially in the summer, like, she'll be in her nightgown, her bed, and I'll be in my nightgown in my bed. We both watching TV. And then, like 10 minutes later, the woman is up and dressed and talking about, come on. I said, wait, what? Wait, what is happening? What's going on? She said, get dressed and let's go. Where are we going? Don't worry about it. Get dressed and let's go. So I get dressed and I go. And where do I find us at? South Street Seaport. I'm like, you could have just said that instead of being so secretive about it. Unless you didn't know this is exactly where we were going to end up. My mom was very spontaneous like that. And I miss those days because I get the spontaneity from her too. Because I can be spontaneous as well. So as you can see, so I get a lot of my spontaneity from her. You know, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit of how I even got into diamond art painting. Well, before I was doing this, I was doing paint by numbers. And I wanted to do something a little bit more than paint by numbers. So I looked around, and I came across diamond art painting. I said, well, now that sounds interesting. I said, because I love shiny stuff, you know, and did a little research on it and saw that it kind of like paint by numbers, you know. So I went ahead and I did it. I got it, and I've been in love with it ever since. Ever since. Um, but I am going to say something, you know, because it's something that needs to be said. Now, Diamond Art Community was created for people to come together and enjoy what they love to do. It's really what it's meant for. To come together, talk, meet new people, um, and just get to know each other better. But for somehow or another, people turned it into a very toxic environment. I mean, who gives a damn about who has what first? You know, who cares? You know, This is why I never really got too big into diamond art painting community, because it's toxic. People talking about other people, backbiting, and all this other nonsense. Totally taking your focus off the prize. Totally taking your focus on what was actually supposed to be a fun thing to do, you know, and turned it into a fifth grade playground in school, you know. Now, I don't know a lot of people in this community, you know, so I do know that I'm hearing a lot of negative stuff coming out of that community. So how did we turn something that we are supposed to love into a childhood playground? You know, and then you got other people feeding into it, and it's like, how old are we again? How old are we again? You know, stop acting like children. Let's act like grown people that we supposed to be. You know, it. I feel like it had to be said. You know, and honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't give a damn what you say about me because y'all don't know me, so I could care less. You could get mad because truth facts are being thrown right now. You know, you let people bully. You know, you let people do all these kinds of things, and instead of saying no, you cower. Why are you cowering to an adult? I want to know. Why is any adult cowering to an adult? If you don't want to, say no, move on, and let's keep it pushing. They don't like it, tell them to kiss the whole entire crack and keep pushing. You know? Because at the end of the day, I don't give a damn what y'all say about me. I really don't give a rat fuck. Excuse my language. But I don't. Because you ain't doing nothing this way. Keep your noise over there. I just thought that was something that I felt like should be addressed. You know, now you got a bad reputation throughout all other communities. The diamond art community has a bad reputation throughout all the other communities because of the backstabbing and the bullying and everything else. I'm a grown ass woman, and I'd be damned if I let a grown person bully my ass. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I want to do. End of story, period. Anyway, getting back to whatever it is I was rambling about. But we are going to talk a little bit about mental health as well. You know, mental health is it's a conversation that needs to be sparked about it. You know, and this is why I do what I do. You know, eventually I want to create my website. I already started making some stuff. Like I made some t-shirts and I made some coffee mugs with, you know, different mental health slogans on it. But I'm going to be making my making a website, you know, and then like next year, since I live in New York, I want to uh do like a walk run like they do for breast cancer. I'd like to do like next May, I'd like to do a walk run in Central Park, bring awareness to mental health, you know. I do eventually am going to try to reach out for like mental health facilities to see who would be willing to sit down on a Zoom call and do and have this conversation. Now, there's a lot of things that, if it's personal things, I know I can't answer because of the HIPAA laws, but, she can give a basic background. They can give a basic background of what mental health illness is, you know, and maybe give us some suggestions to 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 deal with certain things if they come up. We just want to have a good conversation. So I'm looking into doing that as well. You know, as y'all know, I started this collab with me and my girl. Hi, Sherry. Uh, Me and my girl, we started it last year, and and she, gave me the reins. She said, go with it, and I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take this as far as I see, as far as I can take it. You know, and reach out to other people. I know some celebrities have speaking out about mental health, so maybe I'll reach out to certain celebrities. Um, let's see if they wanted to chat about mental health. Um, and just kind of try to bring it to the forefront, you know, because it needs to be put in the forefront, especially with this day and age. We got the pandemic going on, and people feeling isolated. They feeling locked in because they can't go nowhere. And then when they do go somewhere, they got to put a mask on and they got to remain 6 feet from other people. So to, basically, there's no human contact, you know, and it's hard. And I get that. It's very, very hard, you know. But these are the things that we should do, you know. This is diamond art is what I do. This is my hobby. And it helps me from staying in my head, you know. Whenever I'm going through some things, like now I'm going through some things, but I'm doing my diamond paint and I'm talking to y'all. Um, and it's helping me stay out of my head. Honey, don't nobody want to be up in that head. Hell, I don't even want to be up in that head. It is a mess. It is a mess up there. Ooh, yeah. Hazel couldn't even come fix this one. And this is what I do. I love it. It's relaxing, it's calming, it's soothing, and it's like Calgon. It takes me away. And I like that. Calgon really. Hello, Alan. Um, really takes me away. Um, and then then you got the news. The news is definitely really depressing. So, um, especially what's going on. We're over there in Russia, Ukraine. I'm like, man, look, if y'all don't get Putin's ass up out of there before he calls World War 4 or 3, before we get ourselves in some shit that we can't get out of. A lot of people don't realize that if we go to war with Russia, we done. We done. You know, China and Russia, two main places we do not want to go to war with. And it's a scary thing to think about. But it's happening. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but honey, it's up in your face right now. So yeah, you do need to, you better be talking about it. Why is it that nobody wants to talk about crap until crap happens? I mean, literally plops itself right on the doorstep. Why is that? I don't understand. See, I have a problem with people like that. I have a big problem. Because if you see, it's almost like if you stand in traffic and you see a semi coming your way, and you figure if you stand there long enough that semi is not going to see you and is not going to hit you. Meanwhile, he's now about 2 feet away. And somebody literally has to snatch you out of the way because you refused to acknowledge that this truck was going to hit you. And it clearly was going to hit you. I don't understand why people are like that. We can't keep turning our eyes away from things that are sitting right in front of our damn faces. You don't want to talk about it. I get it. It's something that nobody wants to talk about. But honey, let me tell you something. If it plops on your door, you ain't gonna have no choice but to talk about it. And this war with Ukraine and Russia, we gonna have to talk about it. Because we gonna get involved. I mean, we already involved. It's like, well, so long as they keep it over there. No, you can't say that either. Because how quickly the tides turn. Shit be coming over this way real quick. And then you want to scratch your head and say, wait, how did we get here? Really? Wait, what am I doing? Oh. So, people, let's have this let's have a conversation. Let's talk about things that need to be talked about that everybody still thinks is taboo to talk about. Man, we in the 21st century. You don't need to knock that shit off. What they weren't able to do in the 20th century, we can now do in the 21st century. For the most part. Get over it. I used to be in military. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. 4 years. I did 4 years on, 4 years off. And I was in during Desert Storm, Desert Shield. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. I'm a Desert Storm, Desert Shield wartime era person. I got my National Defense Medal. Oh man, I got stories for that too. Oh dear God. I got some I got some stories on that too. The people I met, I said, "Y'all so crazy." I remember one year, right? We was in a co-ed barracks, right? So next door, I had the guys lived like next to me in the quad, which is a big room, but within that room they had 4 little rooms. So I don't know what started it. I have no idea what the hell. All I know is we got involved, me and the neighbors, me and my roommates and my neighbors, we got involved with this big ass water fight. Now, in the rooms, they have emergency doors. So if something caught fire in my room, I would have to use that door to get out, you know. And there was so much water on the floor. I did a slide. Girl, you'd have thought I was sliding into home base because I slid and I slid right through the door. I was like, "Oh shit!" And we all just laughed. I said, "Well, am I safe or not?" I want to know, did I make it to home? But and we just all laughed. We were like, "Oh my dear." They said, "Leave it to Lisa to do that." Don't blame this on me. I didn't start this water fight. I just partook in the water fight. Big difference, you know. So, and I have other stories like that, like in boot camp. We had this one in our company. We had this one female who me and her were about the same size, you know, and she was I believe she was from Brooklyn, and we're all standing around. Our company commanders in the Navy, they call them company commanders. In Army, they call drill instructors. So our company commanders, and I had a male and a female, and we just standing around. Well, this little one, she comes out the bathroom and she goes, "Shit, there's no toilet paper in the bathroom." And my company commander looked at her. He said, "There will be no cussing in this compartment." And then she thought about it for a second. I said, "Oh dear God." I knew she's gonna do something crazy. She said, she thought about it for a second. And she said, "Shit, there's no toilet paper in the bathroom, sir." I said, he looked at her and said, "You know what? Just drop. Just give me 20. Drop, drop, just drop." I was like, we all laughed. I said, "Oh my God, child." I said, "Oh dear." Oh, that was hilarious. Those were my days. You know, and one thing my mother always said, coming up, she said, when you look back on your high school years, you really gonna find out those were the best years of your life. Of course, I couldn't see it because I was in it. I'm like, okay, who told you that load of malarkey? Would you stop buying everything they selling? Because I'm not buying it. But now today, I can look back and go, you know what? Those 4 years really were the best years of my life because I met some awesome people, and I'm still friends with to this day. And I'm like, she right. Those 4 years were the best days of my life. We had some clowns in the class. I was like, oh dear God. We had rolling. I'm like, okay. And I'm in the Catholic school, y'all. So we had to, I graduated because in seventh grade, I did 6 years in public, and then I did the rest of my years in Catholic. So seventh and eighth grade, okay, I had to wear those god awful green pleated skirts with the bow tie. I was like, oh, somebody up in heaven don't like me. Somebody up in heaven hates my guts. Because if he didn't, they would not allow me to go outside with the sun. Because it was so funny, right? When my mom got the package, and I said, what's that? She said, it's a skirt. What it look like? Okay. What's it for? She says, for you. For what? She said, this is your new school uniform. I said, oh, you done got me twisted. Oh, sister, you done got me so twisted. I am not putting that thing on. No way, no how, no size, no shape, no fashion. Am I putting that ugly thing on? Now we can fight about this because I am determined not to put that ugly pleated skirt on this body. No, sir, no, ma'am. I don't need to tell you who lost that fight, right? Whew. I fought to the death. I really did. But it wasn't working. So once I finished, I only had to wear it for 2 years. But you know what? 1 year is long enough. Too long to wear that godforsaken green pleated skirt. So when I got into high school, I told my mama, I said, okay, I'm not doing 4 more years in anybody's green pleated skirt. We not doing that. I just got rid of that. She said, relax. They have a uniform, but that's not it. I said, okay, so what's the uniform? She said, a solid blue skirt. Wait, really? All of a sudden, my face just lit up. Wait, really? Solid blue skirt. I said, oh, hell's bells. And blue's my favorite color too. Come on, we can do this. We can do this. I'm down with it. And she looked at me and she said, you had no other choice but to be down with it. Because either way, you were going to wear it. I said, I don't think I like your attitude right now. I walked away. I guess this is your way of making up for me having to wear that damn green pleated skirt for 2 years. Sheesh. What are you thinking? Don't ever do that no more. Oh, and this is a funny story too. So, okay, I was stationed in New Orleans, right? And it was summer, so we had our summer whites on, right? We had our summer whites on, and so it's like, okay, sun shining, everything. So I go to the chow hall. And for y'all that don't know, the chow hall is a lunchroom, but we just call it chow hall. So I go to the chow hall, and I'm sitting, I'm eating, talking to some friends, and chit chatting. I don't know where or how, because from the chow hall to my job is like 5 minutes or less away. You know, I could literally run from job to my job. Okay. And in the process of coming back from chow, the damn sky decided it wanted to open up its floodgates. Mind you, I'm in all white. I got halfway there and the sky just like whoosh. I said, no. I was like, no. No, 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 no. Great. I get back. I finally make it back. And my supervisor looking at me like, and I lived in the barracks. It was about 10 minutes away. So he's like, before I could even say the word, he said, go change. Don't worry about, you know, the overhead supervisor. I'm telling you, go change. I was like, thank you. Thank you. Walking throughout this building, people staring, because white get wet. You can see through it. I was like, oh, they see my tatas, nenes, and nunus. They see my tatas. So I raced home. And not to mention that the building was air conditioned. So I was cold to be all. Right? So I go home. This time I brought my raincoat because we can't do that twice, And I get back. And the other supervisor was like, where you been? I said, I came in, but I had to change my uniform because it started pouring on the way back. And I asked so if I could go home and change my uniform. And he told him, he said, yeah, I told her to go home and change. I told her to go home and change. Well, next time you should talk to me first. Excuse you. Excuse you. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. See, because now I have a problem. The building's air conditioner. That was the least of my problems. But I'm soaking wet, head to toe. White is completely drenched. You can see right through it. And you saying that I have to ask you first to go home and change? Would you rather me service the customers in a drenched white uniform where all the customers can see everything? You say good customer service. How good of a customer service do you think that would be if I had to service customers in a drenched or white uniform? Because at the end of the day, you're probably going to send me home to change anyway. So what's the problem? I said, man, all I could say was okay, and I just walked away from it. I was like, you know what? I can't. I can't. Because clearly you didn't think that through before you said, opened your mouth to say anything. You should have just simply said, okay, cool. You know, you know, I'm here. I got a dry uniform on. And we good. You know. Now, of course, after that little incident, I get my friends that worked with me that were there that day, a couple of weeks later. So when you gonna walk through the rain in your white uniform again? I'm like, shut up. we want we need to see. I said, shut up. Y'all act like I did this shit on purpose. I did it. I ain't telling guys in New Orleans to open up right then and there. Personally, it could have waited. You know. I'm like, what the hell's the hell's bells? Yeah, I can't. I can't. And it's stuff like that. You know, because I really do miss my military days as well. When I talk about it, I talk about the friends, the people that I've met. Friends. The Mardi Gras, the yeah. Ooh. Let me tell y'all something. If y'all ever want to go to Mardi Gras and never been to Mardi Gras, it's a culture shock. I'm telling you. I was there for 4 years, and it's a culture shock. My first Mardi Gras, a friend of mine took me down to Bourbon Street because we used to live on the east side. Wait, the west side. I think that was the west. We living on the west, and Bourbon Street and that is all on the east side. So, um, my first one, my very first one. First of all, we walking down the French Quarter, and I see these signs up that says "pinch the tail and suck the head." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, what, what the hell? What, what's happening?" And she said, "No, Lisa, it's not what you think. That's not what it said, though. It said pinch the tail and suck the." Lisa, it's not what you think. I said, "Then explain it to me." She said, "It's crawfish." Why is crawfish pinching my tail and sucking my head? She goes, "No, no, no, no." She said, "That's the way you eat crawfish." I said, "Oh, okay. Why didn't you say that in the beginning?" You know. She said, "Yeah, when you eat crawfish, she said the meat is in the tail part, so you pinch the tail and you eat the meat, and then the head is where all the spices are at. So you suck the head to go with the meat." I was like, "Oh, okay, they really need to change that phrasing. That really threw me for a whole loop and a half." I was like, "What the hell? What?" And then, oh, and then Mardi Gras. Okay, if y'all don't know, Mardi Gras runs for about, I believe, 30 days. And it usually ends the Tuesday right before Ash Wednesday. So they call it Fat Tuesday. Fat Tuesday is the closing of Mardi Gras. And then Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. So I was like, okay. So my friend took me down to the French Quarter for for Mardi Gras. So I was like, okay. So she told me, she said, for beads, women show their I said, they do wait, what? She said they show their boobs for beads. Who the hell would want to do something like that? Okay. So I was like, okay. So we get down there, and there's so much excitement. The quarter is packed. I mean, elbow to elbow packed. I mean, it was just packed. You know, the jazz places, like I tell people, when you go to New Orleans and you go into the French Quarters, you really don't have to go inside any of those clubs because they got the doors open. You got the vendors that sell the cups of beers on the side. You really don't have to go inside. You have a good time just standing outside. That was my kind of club, right? So um, I'm looking around. I'm just looking and trying to get my feel on what's happening on that. What's the goings ons, right? Why I look up on a balcony and this female turned around and slid her bodysuit to the side. Them not tatas she was flashing. I said, oh, oh, did she? Did she? She said, she did. I thought you said boobs. You ain't said nothing about the punani down there. You know, she said, "Girl, they show everything." Just I said, "For a strand of beads, though." She said, "For a strand of beads." Okay. Well, that ain't happening, Captain, on my watch. You know. And one year we went down there, and me and some of my male friends who went down, and I was sitting on the cooler, okay, and the guys took off to look for somebody. I forget what they were doing. They were looking for somebody. So I, sat down on the cooler because we had a cooler. I sat down on the cooler and just chilled. So when they came back, because they were going like 15, 20 minutes. So when they came back, man, I had bees from every which way you want to know how. And they were, oh, hell, how'd you get them bees? I said, they were throwing them off the balcony. They just happened to fall in my lap. They were like, I call bullshit. I call bullshit. You were showing them. You showed. I said, I trust and believe when I said I did not show anybody anything. I just sat in one spot, and as they were throwing it off the balcony, they were falling in my lap. Lies. I said, okay. Okay. Well, you wasn't there now, was you? So I'm trying to tell you that you did not miss nothing because I did not do nothing. You know? So they they are a little bit out of sorts about that one. Like, next time we stay in, I said, you know what? I said, what's the difference? You seen boobs before? What's the big difference? Said, yeah, but we haven't seen yours. Okay. Am I supposed to look different because why? I said, okay, see, this is where I stopped talking to you now. You know? So, this was me in the military. And another tradition that they got is for Mardi Gras is that there's like a cake. Okay. And inside the cake, this only happens during Mardi Gras. Inside the cake, there's a little tiny plastic baby in there. And whoever gets the baby has to pick up the next cake. And this goes on for weeks. And I was like, oh, fudgy dudge. I made it through almost 4 years at that command without having getting that baby. And the one time I get it, I was getting out. I said, this. Okay, y'all set me up. This was a straight setup. How is it that I escaped 4 years and the one time I'm getting out of the military? Now I get the baby? Y'all set me up. This was a setup. Okay, nobody see. But it was awesome. It was great. Wouldn't change the thing. I met a lot of nice people. I didn't go really anywhere. Because it was my first duty station. Had I stayed in, God knows where I could be right now. I could have been in Norfolk. I could have been Okinawa. I could be anywhere. But it was it was it was interesting. And I did everything. I did everything. Well, I'm not gonna say I did everything, but I did a lot of things. Like I was customer service, so my main objective was doing the ID cards. You know, that was my primary objective. Okay. But, you know, they decided to throw a bunch of hats on me. Like I did leave papers, I did uh ordering correspondence courses, I did, you know, service record entries, uh I did the VHA and BAS, BAH, you know, the housing allowance for the military and their dependents, you know. But then they decided to throw something else in there. They threw in the AWOLs and deserters. So now I'm like, okay, how many hats you want me to have? Because I only got one head, you know. But out of it all, I have to say, doing the AWOLs and the deserters was so much more interesting. Because I was like, what the, you know, like one guy, he deserted for 11 years. I said, how long you been gone, sir? He said, 11 years. Do you even remember what your last command was? You know, so he told me, so, you know, that's what we have to do. You know, when we get somebody who AWOL or deserted, we have to find out their last command so that we can alert the command that this person was AWOL or desert, and he's coming back at you. And from then on, they do what they have to do with them. So I'm sitting there going, okay, this is what we're doing. So I called the command, and then you have to understand something too, that at least in the Navy, sometimes when you don't have a commanding officer, they will put a master chief in their spot. So even though they're a master chief, they're also considered the commanding officer. So I called up his command, and the first thing I told him who I was, and I said, I need to speak to your commanding officer. So it was a master chief. And when I told him the situation, he was like, what? I said, I know. I said, Master Chief, I know. What the? I'm laughing because I can actually see it. Even though I don't know what this man looked like, but I can almost see the look on his face where he's like, I said, I don't know. And he was like, okay. So, I did what I was supposed to do. I took his ID card, got his primary and secondary next to kin. You know, and next door we had what they call SATO, and they dealt with flights. You know, which is good for us too, because military we go through them to get our flights when we want to go home. We don't got to go all the way to the airport. But went to the guy next door, told him we got one and where he was going, And meanwhile, I'm doing all of this paperwork and calling and and he was like, okay, he said, what's gonna happen is we're gonna have to attach him to the base tonight, and his flight is like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, okay, so now I have to call the LN from across the street so that he can type up his orders to attach him to the base, and then we had the guy, and he's a very scary dude, very scary, very tall, very dark, a very deep voice. I wouldn't want to run up into him in Dark Alley. Nowhere. So I called him once everything was done. And I called him and I said, that's him sitting over there. I said, his flight leaves about 8 o'clock in the morning. So the petty officer just came and did the orders, attached him to the base for the night. And I said, here's his ID card, here's all the information, his orders, here's everything you need. He's like, thank you. And he's like, come on. He said, tomorrow morning, he said, I want you to be here at 7. At 7 o'clock came, he was there. He came, got him, and took him to the airport. And then it was all downhill from there. I'm guessing he probably went to the brig first, and then they dishonorably discharged. And my thing is, because a lot of people ask that question, well, why would he turn himself in after being gone 11 years? I said, well, remember back in the day how the military used to do it. They used to go out looking for you. I said, now I think what they're doing now is flagging your social security number. So if you try to apply for any government assistance, that flag is going to come up. And you're not going to get anything until you get that taken care of. So, and then I had to do a letter to DC about this, because anybody that's deserted, you have to do a letter, send up to DC. And this ain't any type of letter. This was a special kind of type of letter. I'm like, you had to have a certain kind of font. You had to make sure that 2 inches was literally 2 inches, not 2.5 inches. I was like, oh, come on, now y'all being anal retentive. Yeah, for real. I'm getting out of control with this. So I managed to get through it and sent it to DC. I'm like, oh dear. And then we had one who was had TAD, temporary duty orders, to a mental health facility. And he came through us like 2-3 weeks. I said, wait a minute. How in the world did you slip through those cracks? I mean, the people that the facility that he was at did not cut his orders, so he was able to slip through the cracks. I'm like, oh dear God. And of course, part of my job is having to find out what it is you did. But he refused to tell me. So I'm like, okay. Meanwhile, I knew he had to be attached to the base that night as well, because his flight didn't leave, I think, until about 9-10 o'clock the next morning. So he had to be attached to our base. So I had to call the LN2 across the street boy, me and him became good friends. And he's like, well, I said, I know. He wouldn't tell me what he did. He said, I'll talk to him. And I was like, okay. And keep it moving. And I did my thing. And he actually wrote it down and left it on my desk. And when I saw what it was, I'm not going to say what it did, but I just know it was bad. It was really, really bad. And I tore it up. I was like, whoa. So, and even he asked me, he said, Seaman Spencer, he said, how did he slip through the cracks? I said, because the facility never cut his orders going back to his command. He said, seriously? Seriously? He said, okay. Wow. And then when I spoke to the command, they were like, even they asked me, well, how did he slide past? I said, because the facility never cut his orders. They were like, why wouldn't you cut his orders? That would be the question of the day. So it is what it is. I'm just like, man, look. Have everybody taken leave of their senses? What's going on here? I'm like, dear Lord. I mean, I got stories upon stories. In being in the military, I got stories upon stories. But I think this is where I'm going to end my whipping chat. I may do another one. Like I said, I kept it light. I got a little heavy for a couple of moments, but I brought it back to being light. So I will. Maybe I'll do this like every weekend, like every Sunday. I'll do a whipping chat, and we'll just chit chat and talk about things. And on that note, everybody, have a good day. Goodbye, Alan Butler.